What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journos Comics and Pop Culture. The debate continues, folks. I am Snick, snot running all through my nose, but I still decided to come here to make this video about the ongoing conversation of Marvel Rivals and what it's doing with these spec books, and if it's going to bring kids into comic books. If you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, please take the time to do so. Check out all the links in the description below as well. So, how this started. If you guys didn't see the video I did, I believe a couple days ago now, where after watching good friend of the channel, my favorite YouTuber, Swaggle Haas's video, talking about Marvel Rivals and how he feels, this is getting, bringing in attention to the comic books. The video games has character cards with links to be able to purchase their first appearance in comics. He was talking about how he's possibly optimistic that this could get kids into these characters and into reading comics. And he was also showing how it seems that it's getting people into purchasing the books. So I made a video wanting to address that. And it's not that me and Swag were necessarily disagreeing. I do think, he was coming off maybe a little bit too optimistic in a whole. But what I was trying to say was, and it's really to all of you, to the viewership, to the community out there, that everything that we see with these books is simple and plain FOMO. It's FOMO addicts that are all the same middle-aged men that are standing toe-to-toe with the middle-aged flippers, that just like they do when we get a live-action trailer or an announcement or a casting, or we get a Netflix series option, we see the same trend. And that's why I say it's the same toilet, different pile of ish. This FOMO on these books with these characters, the Luna Snow, the Jeff the Tiger Shark, whatever, I don't even know what his name is. These FOMO buys, which now Swag did another video today as I'm recording this, kind of going in and saying, look, these are record sales. And I'm not, again, you guys want to watch his video, I'm going to put the link to this video of his in the description here. Record high, almost doubling in price, $525 for a 9.8 first appearance of Jeff the Shark. And he was like, look, I told you guys, this is really bringing interest in this. And basically, people are now saying that I was wrong. No, I wasn't wrong, because I was never denying that people are FOMOing out at all. So I want to bring up here my comment that I made on Swag's second video. And again, I'm not over here being passionate about anything that Swag's saying, because ultimately, and it's just really funny for all of you guys that aren't getting the bigger picture, me and Swag basically agree on 99.9% of this. But let me read this to you all. The game is a marketing ploy for the same small circle of middle-aged men that spec on movie hype, live action, and TV show options. The only point I wanted to make was that this won't correlate to our youth or bringing gamers to the hobby. That's all I was saying. These high-priced spec sales are going to dip off, and it's not the kids buying it. But let me continue on here. I do probably disagree that people buying these books are actually excited for them, because one thing Swag did say in this video was like, not only is there an uptick in these 9.8 sales and, went from $200 to $300 to $500, he's saying like there's all these Luna Shark books that are raw, or these side character books selling for $8, $9. But I was like, you could look at what happened with Spider-Boy the same way. You could look at any spec book before it actually is hit that hot peak where there's a trailer or anything like that. You have speculators buying these books thinking, oh, let me get the Luna Snow one. Let me get this one. Let me get that one. Why I could still buy them low, because what are they thinking? They're thinking they can flip it and make that money. And then you probably get FOMO buyers that are trying to be ahead of the curve, that are like, oh, shoot, Jeff the Shark is booming. Let me get these raw copies of the Luna Snow or the Galacta or whatever it is for $7, $8, $9. Why I can. So again, it doesn't speak to people buying into these books because they're playing a video game and they care about the books. It's the same people that are either FOMOing out, trying to get before the curve, or the speculators buying them up because once something else hits, boom, $10 book is now selling for $200, $300. It's the same toilet, different-ish. So let me continue on. I probably disagree that the ones buying, that people are buying these books that are actually excited for the character, even with the low dollar sales. We can see the same trends whenever there is hype around a new character, i.e. Spider-Boy, only for it to die off when they don't sell. While the same FOMO addicts are seeing this as a way to flip and get rich, the kids the kids that are playing the game are simply just playing the game. They aren't the ones spending hundreds of dollars on these books. The kids aren't the ones telling their parents to go buy them these books. They don't care. The same FOMO bros are going to look back a year from now and see the same crash in value, just like we do with live action, just like we do with Netflix Prime options. It's the same toilet, different-ish. So yes, ultimately, we agree on what is happening here, because if you watch the video, we're saying the same thing. Marvel knows how to milk the middle-aged man that speculates. I also do hope that at least a few kids might pick up a comic from this, but it won't be enough to make any difference in how the modern floppy comic is consumed and how it is a dying commodity. And again, I use this example. It's like me or you, growing up with parents that listen to 8-track tapes. And it's like, oh, I still have an 8-track tape collection. And it's like me using that as an argument to say that 8-tracks aren't dying out. I mean, I can even say the same thing for cassette tapes. And in 2024, I can even say the same thing for CDs. I can even say the same thing for DVDs and even the Blu-ray at this point. They are dying out. Why? Is it because people stop watching movies? Is it because people stop listening to music? No, it's because of evolution. It's because of technological evolution. Things change. We went from the 8-track to the cassette to the CD to MP3 players to streaming services. We went from VHS to DVD to Blu-ray to streaming service to digital to streaming services. It's not that the product itself, what it's delivering to us, there is no interest there anymore. No, it's the medium is changing. It's not that kids don't read and they're not interested in superhero or Marvel content. It's that the medium is changing. They don't consume floppy comics. So let me continue on. Jeff the Shark will be popular among the kids, but the IP will not translate for them into floppy comics. It's going to be in skins, or the new season of the game, or other games, or animated action, maybe even toys or plush dolls, and maybe even in hardcover publications that resemble Dogman books, or Captain Underpants, or Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which is the comic book, art form in a different medium. But it simply won't translate over to floppy comics. And here's where I think people are mistaking the point that I'm saying. I'm not sitting here hating on comics, guys. I'm being a realist. And I'm not sitting here saying that kids don't read. And I'm not sitting here saying that kids can't get into comic book IP. Right? I'm not even saying that I'm mad at these books selling for this much. I think it's great, and I'm going to tell you why. But let me finish reading this first before I tell you why and end this video. I'm absolutely excited for anything that brings kids into Marvel IP. And I'm happy that the FOMOers are blowing money. Why? Here it is, folks. Because it's what keeps floppy comics on life support. I just can't speak on these things anymore without painting the whole picture of where floppy comics are going. Me and Swag talked about this earlier today after he released this video as well. We both agree that the floppy comic probably doesn't have more than a couple decades left. And the thing that's keeping floppy comics alive are FOMO buyers, speculators, variant buyers, 40 plus variants an issue, incentive variants. Because again, look at the sales data. Look at the sales data. Okay? We're at the lowest print runs ever. And a large majority of what's being sold on the primary market from the distribution level are variants. And what's the hype around this game? Around the Rivals game is the Rivals variants that are cover swipes from when we were kids. They're selling nostalgia. So this is the brilliance of Marvel right now. Marvel is learning, is understanding that these young kids love Marvel IP, but they're not reading comics. So what do? Go to video games. Go to the video games. But they also know that middle-aged men that love comics so much are FOMO addicts and flipper addicts, and they're going to look at a video game hype just like they do live action hype, and they're going to eat it up. It's beautiful. It's great marketing. It's perfect, and it's making them money. But I just find it funny that this individual like this here says Journo was wrong. What was I wrong about? What was I wrong about? Because Swag's video here, where he talks about this $500 sale, just proves my point. It proves my point of who's buying these books. Look, folks, this isn't doom or gloom. It's not. And again, I'm not on one extreme side of the street or another. This is the facts of the situation. And it's funny. Again, I'll say this again. You know, when I was doing like top 10 comics to invest in for $100 or really looking at what's moving on the market, you know, I get coined as, oh, I'm a YouTube spec bro, or I'm just a dirty flipper, and look at me just, you know, all the negatives that come along with talking about speculation or investing. But as soon as I talk about, you know, on the flip side of that, where kids, the state of the floppy comic, you know, the videos about how modern comic collections in bulk are worthless, that the floppy comic won't exist in a couple decades, I'm a bad guy again. I think there is great potential here for everyone to realize, first off, the primary range of 35 to 65 that are comic book collectors, we still got a few decades before we all die. But when we do, floppies will be dead, folks. Primary market floppies are going to be dead. It's just a fact. It's a fact. It's like a bunch of hippies in the 70s. You know, if they had internet, if they had YouTube, they'd be all on YouTube. Anybody that sat and said, hey guys, in a couple of decades, 8-tracks aren't going to exist. Screw you, you're a hater, you're a doom and gloom, you're wrong. You know, it's like, folks, suck your gutting, suck it up, pull up your bootstraps, and face reality, folks. I know it's scary. The floppy comic is dying. It is on life support. But I still believe that as long as we're around, the publishers can keep doing things that could be positive for us. And guys, why we're alive, even though it might not be enough to save the dying floppy, if we have kids and grandkids, we can give them the joy. We can pass down the joy like I did to my kids about what comics are. But this isn't the end all be all, because what we should be happy about are the stories in the history that exists within the IP of these characters and what Marvel and DC is. And Marvel's going to carry that to these younger generations through video games, through animation like Into the Spider-Verse, through movies, through TV shows, through, and hopefully through different mediums of reading. Because kids do read still, maybe not as much, especially once they get to be teenagers, but they do read. They just consume it differently. They consume the hardcover, trade graphic novels like Dogman and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Jedi Academy. Parents are buying their kids golden books with the superhero, like the DC had the Wonder Woman and Supergirl, and it was like for toddlers. We read digitally. We read on our iPads and in smartphones. So we have to think outside the box. And let me end on one more note, folks. The ending of the primary market floppy could actually have a positive effect on the floppy comic. Because what does it truly make it when it's completely extinct? A true nostalgic art form. A true nostalgic art form. So imagine, modern comics right now don't have nostalgia. These kids, there's going to be no nostalgia 20 to 30 years from now with modern comics. There won't be. They will be worthless. Unless floppy comics are stopped being produced altogether in 30, 40 years from now, there's such a dead breed, a dead art form that adults from that era during that time might look at it and say, oh, look at this piece of ancient history that doesn't exist anymore. It's a relic. Think about it like that. That's my video for you guys today, folks. Again, Brandon Metro, I don't know what you thought I was wrong about, but I'm very interested in hearing if anybody here still thinks that I'm wrong about anything. I will be the first to admit that I'm wrong, but ain't hearing anything that I'm wrong about yet. It is what it is. And a year later, we're going to be looking at these books and in the prices, and I'll we'll be checking receipts. But thanks, guys, for watching. I'm gonna go get some Robitussin, take my ass to bed. Until next time, be well.